We're now joined by Cincinnati women's basketball assistant coach and recruiting coordinator, Abby Jump. Abby, welcome into that Large Bid podcast.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about Abby real quick, just so people get an understanding of how good you were in your playing days. Still fifth all time in three-pointers made in Kentucky. Uh, was inducted into the Ryle Hall of Fame in 2019. During your college years, you were first in the Horizon League your junior and senior year and three-point shooting percentage. And then as far as your coaching goes, you're the only coach named to the WBCA 30 under 30 over the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So well, kind of a big deal, right?
I played with some really good players, and I worked with some really good people that make me look better than I am. That's for sure. Playing wise, yeah, Ryo, I got to play with a handful of really talented players, Division I players on our team, all at the same time. Jenna Crittenden that played at Xavier. I played short period of time with Sydney Moss. I went to Florida and then back to Thomas More and was National Player of the Year. I just played with a lot of really talented players, so it makes it a lot easier to get open shots when you're surrounded by that. Made my job easy just to make shots. And same at Wright State. I had an unbelievable experience because I was part of a really good team there with unbelievable players. Kim Dimmings, who is the all-time leading scorer in Horizon League history, men or women's basketball. That, again, made my job really easy when I was in the game. Just make open shots because 9 times out of 10, my man was helping guard her. So, yeah, I played with some really talented players and was part of really talented teams. As far as the WBCA award, it's an honor. Every year that I was a part of it and was on the list, it was an honor to be listed with the other names on the list. There's some really great coaches but great people on that list. But to me, it's always been like a village award. So I always view it as it speaks volumes about the people I'm surrounded by and who pour into me, because I know it's taken a village since day one in the profession for me to get to where I'm at. So it really speaks to the people I work with and I'm around every single day.
So let's talk about your coaching career. You finished up at Wright State. What was it that made you wanted to make you get into coaching, and what led you to Cincinnati?
Yeah, I got injured my senior year, so I was sidelined for about 7 months. And when you're on the sideline, your perspective shifts a lot. You see things that you don't see while you're running full speed, or while you can't breathe or out of shape or whatever it may be. So I was able to take a step back and see different things, take a step back and learn from Trina, Mike Bradbury, who was my head coach. That's at New Mexico now. Keith Freeman, who's at New Mexico now. Val King, who's the head coach at Texas Corpus Christi. Like, you just get to see things that are different. And for me, I always wanted to be a coach, but I think that was the thing that put me over the edge a little bit, is having that itch and being on the sideline and being a player's coach and helping the freshmen or the sophomores when I was a senior. So that, I think, helped fall in place into what I wanted to do, and it gave me a leg up. And from there, I honestly talked to Mike about it and Trina a ton. Trina was the one that really helped me get my foot in the door and gave me the advice that I needed, and how to operate and how to speak to recruits and their families, handlers, AAU coaches. I got to sit in and listen on her work, so it taught me a lot.
So you had a chance to play for Trina, and then you've been with her the past 5 years. How has that relationship grown over the years to what it is now?
Yeah, well, she was always a player's coach for us. We relied on her, and not just for the relationship part and talking us through things, but the X's and O's. She was one that was in your corner and pushed you to be successful and pushed you to the points that you didn't think that you could reach, but was always in your corner. So from there, I knew that, one, she would be a head coach. It was pretty evident when she was an assistant. And I just wanted to put myself in a position that if there was ever an opening, no matter when the time was or where she was at, that I could have the opportunity if it made sense and if I could help. I just wanted to help her in any way I could in the smallest capacity. It didn't matter. And so when the opportunity came about to come back home and be able to be at Wright State and work for her, it was a dream come true in two different aspects. But she's one of a kind. Um, Her X's and O's are unbelievable. Uh, that's part of the reason why she's with Team USA in America, and why we've been successful is the way that she can put players in the positions that they need to be in to be successful, both individually and for the team. It's a rare thing to have X's and O's, relationship building, and be one of the top recruiters in the country, which she's been from day one as assistant. Um, so I've just learned a lot. There's not a day in the office or on the floor that I don't walk away learning something from her, and uh, it's been a dream come true, and the opportunity of a lifetime to work for her.
So Trina's playing and coaching career to date kind of speaks for itself, but you hit on her being with Team USA right now. And then she's also going to be a part of Big 12 hoops in Rucker Park. How
Mm-hmm.
does her being a part of events like that just help emphasize that Cincinnati does have one of the best coaches in the women's college game?
Yeah, well, I think just prior to Cincinnati, the opportunities that she's been given from Wright State through Memphis and now, it just speaks to who she is, that it didn't matter what level she was at. She can coach, she can recruit, she can mentor. And now being in a place like Cincinnati, where you get to represent Big 12, you represent the Jordan brand, you represent Cincinnati athletics. That speaks a lot for itself. Um, I think it just speaks to who she is and who she's always been, um, and she doesn't change because of where she's at. I think she's really successful because of her being exactly who she is all the time. But the Americup, and I jokingly say it's not a participation trophy to be an assistant coach or a coach. There, they don't hand those opportunities out to everyone, and she certainly earned it um, through many different ways. But she's earned it to be there.
So you look at the transition to the Big 12 and also Jordan brand, the first time Cincinnati women's basketball has ever worn that. How does that help when it comes to recruiting?
Yeah, well, the CPAW itself and Cincinnati brand, right, gets you in the door. Always has, always will. Adding a Jordan logo to things keeps you in the room. Big 12 logo, and adding that in, make sure that you stay in the room in recruiting. It's one of the best conferences in the country. The winning percentages of almost every single team from the last season, and then just the head coaches and the Hall of Famers that have been a part of the league. And recruiting wise, we're competing. We have everything we need in place to compete for some of the best players in the country. From just the university standpoint, the athletic facilities, the academics, the campus, we're in a really great position to stay in those rooms.
So when you kind of hit on it with your response, but when you look at Cincy Reigns and then all the investments that the university's made into upgrading facilities, what does that say about the commitment of Cincinnati to athletics across campus, whether
Mhm.
it's women's basketball, men's basketball, football, golf, all across the board?
Yeah. Well, it shows that their commitment is to all the sports and that they want everybody to be successful. You can't step on campus without entering the first part and seeing the new football indoor facility that's being built right now. And then you keep moving down, and here's baseball getting new turf and infield dirt. Like, you can't be on anywhere on campus where things aren't moving in the right direction for all the sports. And I think that's really important, right? Like, at the end of the day, football is always college football, right? It doesn't matter where you're at. And then basketball is always basketball. But the best thing about Cincinnati is, again, you walk in, and I walk in and see the Cincinnati volleyball camp going on, and how many little girls are in there, right? Like, they're signing top 25 classes. There's just so many things heading in the right direction across the board. Their commitment to athletics as a whole is truly special.
So when let's talk a little bit about recruiting. You're getting ready to go on the road tomorrow to start a recruiting period. When you guys are out on the road, are you recruiting to a system, or is there a certain culture that you're recruiting to? Or is it a
Yeah.
little mix of both?
Yeah, it's twofold. They got to be able to fit the style of play, absolutely. But culture-wise, they have to be the type of person that we need. Because if you have a highly talented player, but they don't fit the culture that you have, how much is their talent going to shine through, right?
Mhm.
I would say it's fairly easy to go to a court for anyone who's not a college basketball coach and say that's the best player on the floor, right? But that may not be what you need. And so for us, it's about evaluation from top to bottom. Obviously, basketball skill, we want highly talented players in our system that fit, so that it can be a great experience for them. At the end of the day, we want their student athlete experience to be one that when they graduate, like, gosh, I wouldn't change anything about that. I had the time of my life, both basketball and campus and academic wise. So it's twofold: basketball system, how we play, what we're looking to do, what we want to do, being able to sustain success, building a program off of majority 4 and 3 year players, whatever it may be, that it's year in, year out, you're having these players that know the system. So finding the freshmen that can help right away, play right away, and contribute right away. And then the people, who they are as people, who they are as students in the classroom and in the community, and the people around them is equally important. So it's absolutely twofold. We have to have the right people, the right people to fit our program and family. We talk about it. We're really particular in who we allow in our family, because at the end of the day, we truly are. It's not a 9 to 5, and we have to work together. We love working together, and we love the culture that we build with our team and players. And it's an environment where it's okay to be vulnerable in ways that isn't spoken about. So we're particular in our family members that we have in her.
Yeah. So in terms of, philosophy and X's and O's, without going into too much detail, what are some of the core principles of what you guys want to do at both ends of the court?
Yeah, we're going to play fast. We're going to play as fast as we can without turning the ball over. So that may be different depending on who we're playing. But our main identity is defend and rebound. The days that we don't make threes or get to the line or whatever it may be, and the ball isn't dropping, we still have to be able to defend and rebound to be in a position at the end of the game to win it. And sometimes that means you win ugly, and we're okay with that. But we're going to defend and rebound and rely on those things. We talk about it with our team. Those things travel. So when we go on the road and we go to Paradise Jam or whatever it may be, and we're competing against other top 25 programs or, Power 5 programs, if we can defend and rebound, we'll have a chance. And that doesn't matter if you make 13 threes or 0. That's what keeps you in the games. And it's cliche, but it does. It wins championships. It's helped us win a few as a staff, and so we'll always do that. But offensively, we're going to push. We're going to play fast, and it's going to be a fun pace, and hopefully a fun product to put out on the floor for people to watch.
So you returned 7 players from last year's team. What has this transition been like over the last 4 or 5 months?
It's been really smooth, to be honest, and that speaks to them and allowing us and kind of welcoming us with open arms and really not looking back, hitting the ground running in April when we first got up here. Trina had them by herself for a little bit, and then the rest of us got there. And they want to win. They're competitive. They compete. They're hardworking. One of the hardworking groups that I've ever been around in my career. They do. They push each other. They communicate more effective than a team that I've been a part of too, which is really impressive. So it does. It speaks to them and what they want to accomplish, that they've allowed us to come in there and for it to be smooth.
So you kind of hit on, going to the Paradise Jam. Obviously, great exposure for the program. You'll play Colorado, which was a Sweet 16 team last year, as well as NC State and Kentucky. And then you look at the Big 12 schedule. 9 of the 10 teams had a winning record last year and played in the postseason. What does that do for exposure of the program moving forward?
Yeah, well, the Paradise Jam, it's one of the most prestigious, Thanksgiving tournaments you can play in. So we're really excited and thankful to be a part of that. I think it speaks to the way that we compete and how our teams have been in the past, and this is going to be no different in terms of we're going to play really hard. And whether we're underrated or overlooked, we don't really mind. It doesn't stop the work that we're going to do internally. So going there and competing against teams like Colorado, NC State, and Kentucky, it's going to be a great challenge early for us to find out where we're at, the work that we've put in, and then where we need to go from there. So that's huge. Again, having our name in those tournaments and next to other names like that. Now, what we just have to do is we have to compete. We have to go in there and compete and find ways to win and come out on the winning side, which ultimately we feel good about it. And the team that we have, and then the Big 12, you want to compete against the best. And now it's not 2 or 3 times in the non-conference; it's night in, night out. And so the commitment and the sacrifice that our players have to be willing to make and that are making will ultimately lay the foundation for what we're going to be able to do night in, night out against tough teams and top 25 programs and programs that expect to be in the NCAA tournament.
In terms of, you obviously added some transfers through the transfer portal. How do you think the transfer portal has impacted recruiting over the last several years?
Well, to be honest, it affects it in a couple different ways. For us, like I said, we like to build our program off of 4-year players and then sprinkle in the transfers when it sees fit. And for us, majority of the transfers that we'll sign or have signed, we've known in the past whether they've played for us or we recruited them and may not have gotten them the first time. So we know them. We know who they are. It does affect you because you ultimately don't know, and you hope the culture that you create and the environment that you have and the success that you have keeps players there, right? And keeps them in home, and they don't want to leave because of their experience that they're having. But you don't know what your roster looks like year in and year out, and that completely affects it. You think you know what your depth chart is moving forward, and it can completely change. For us, we haven't had a ton of transfers, but the ones that we do sign, they're people that we know. Destiny Thomas played for us at Memphis. She was our starting post player as a freshman, and Aisha Dio, we recruited her to Memphis as well, and ended up going to Penn State, but we had a great relationship as a staff with her, and so we knew who she was. We knew how hard she was going to work. We knew what she wanted to accomplish. So those things to us, that's how the transfer portal is beneficial. We can sprinkle in those missing pieces with people that we know.
Right. Yeah, sure. So let's just finish with rapid fire. Obviously, it's really good to get to know about some of the players that are going to be on this year's roster. So let's just start with probably the biggest name, or one of the biggest names, Jillian Hayes.
Yeah. So Jill is one of the hardest workers from weight room, on the floor, just conditioning. You never, ever expect to walk into the gym and her not to be on level 10. And no matter what that looks like, she's always going to be on level 10. And we knew that coming in because we had to play against her twice a year.
Yeah.
So we had to have a scout on her and a report on her, and it was really hard to stop her. But she's been great to work with. She wants to win. She's competitive. She comes from a winning pedigree. She is in the gym. I know that she was in there today. I'm positive she was in there. So she's just been great to work with.
Clarissa Craig.
Clarissa is completely transformed. What she did was at the end of the season, go straight to the weight room, straight to the track, straight to the gym, and has not looked back. What she has done is put herself in a position to not just be a true back to the basket 5 player, but to be able to rim run and shoot threes and pull ups and 15 footers. She's kind of made herself into a tweener between a 4 and a 5. So again, another one that's ultra competitive and just fights every day to get better.
Reagan Jackson.
Reagan is a competitor through and through. Coming from Texas, she knows what good basketball and great basketball is, and has had to play against it from AAU, high school, and so on. So, competitor, the numbers that she's running mile-wise speaks on that. I'm pretty sure that she doesn't take a break at all when it comes to working out and conditioning. But we're going to look to her to have that competitive edge and push the fold a little bit.
Brianna Byers.
So Bree is smooth. I'll put it that way. We kind of gave her a hard time. We're like, hey, we know what you can do. We've seen you in AAU. It's time to come on. And the next day, that's all she needed was a little fire lit, and she hasn't looked back. She's competing against Jill day in, day out in that position, and it's been awesome to see because she's not holding back. She's pushing Jill to be better. In turn, she's been better. The best thing about her is that you would imagine that she wants to be in the paint because she's got a college body. She's very, very strong, but she's got such a great touch and can shoot it. So we're really looking forward to seeing what she does this year.
Braylon Milton.
Bray is one of the best shooters in the conference, and I'll put a stamp on that now because she shoots the same shot almost every single time. And she has been great as a leader. She communicates effectively to everybody, which ultimately, if you can't communicate effectively to everyone, then you can't be a leader.
Right.
And she brings the energy. If she's not in a play or if she's on the sideline, you hear her like she's in it. And so she's just been great too. Again, another competitor, another winner that isn't looking back.
So a player that you probably know well because of where she's from, Abby Holtman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Abby and I go way back, just with families and going from being at Ryle and being from Union. She has made a lot of strides over the last handful of years with just her shooting ability. And we, to be honest, it's a shot that is really hard to contest. It happens really fast, and it's such a high release that if you don't have a hand on top of the ball, you're likely not there in time for her to release it. So she's been really good, and she works really hard from just put in the extra shots work. She knows what it's going to take, and it's been awesome to be in the same gym as her with our backgrounds.
I have to apologize because I don't know how to pronounce her name. AD. I'm going to call her AD.
Okay, Aisha.
Aisha. That's what I thought it was, but the spelling threw me off. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. So Aisha transferred from Penn State.
Yep.
And the player I was speaking on earlier that we've known, just an athlete. Loves defense, can rebound, can shoot. She just does so many different things that may not end up on the stat sheet. And again, another great communicator and leader. You just never expect her to not be on level 10-2 in the gym. But it's been, after recruiting her and knowing her for a really long time, it's been really awesome to be in the gym with her and being on the same team.
Zaya Jenks.
TT Jinx. So
Yeah.
TT is ultra skilled, and she's working her way back. To be on the floor. She's missed a little bit of the summer, but I'm positive the work that she's done rehab-wise, that when she gets on the floor completely 100%, she won't miss a beat. Just her pace and her skill level with the athleticism that she has, it's gonna be really special. But she's another one that welcomed us with open arms and is a competitor, and the best thing about her is like she loves Cincinnati and wants to be a Cincinnati Bearcat every single day, and she's been great. She's been great on the sideline as well.
Ramaya Bird.
Yep. So Ramaya from Colorado in Inspire Academy, another one that is coming back from injury, but little by little she's been able to do more and more, and so that's been awesome to see her in on things. She brings great length and size. Another one with a college body already of just strength. She's been working really hard, and another one that has been a great teammate being on the sideline and having to go through what she's going through, because ultimately you have an option. You can be a great teammate while injured and being on the sideline, or you're silent. And she's been awesome. So we really look forward to getting her back out there.
Another one from last year, seen Malia Williams.
Yeah. So Lele, I don't know if you're going to find another bouncier rebounder and 3-point shooter like her. She plays with great pace, and her rebounding ability, the way that she can get up and snag some boards and then come down on the other end and hit an NBA back NBA three. It's been really special to work with her. I know that she has a lot she wants to prove and do, and she's been working really hard. Another competitor. So she's been great to work with.
Maya Jackson.
So Maya, she's the PG through and through. She leads like one, she walks like one, she talks like one. She has everybody's respect. She has, while, she could have very well gone home to rehab or whatever it may be, some injury, she has stayed, and she has transformed her body as well. She is an ultra hard worker. She works in the dark, and when I'm positive, when she gets back out on the floor, you'll see it, all the hard work that she's put in behind the scenes. But she has everybody on the team's respect because of who she is, who she represents, how she goes about her business. But she's a coach's dream in that aspect, because ultimately she just wants to win.
So another player that you mentioned earlier, Destiny Thomas.
Yeah. So Destiny, I'm just thankful that she's here because she's really special. We got a lot of glimpses of it, as a freshman, and she had to step in and start when that wasn't really the plan. The plan was for her to kind of be molded and play behind some vets. But when injuries occur and things that are out of your control and you gotta get thrown to the fire, she did a great job. She was on the all freshman team in the American, and that's competing against Dulcie from USF, who was a draft pick that plays for Seattle, and having to go up against people like that. She has so many tools to her tool belt. And I think that you'll see a lot of that this year, all that she can do.
Kind of rounding out the roster, Delaney Snyder.
Yep. So Delaney is a 6'5" shooting post player, and I mean she's got a smooth jumper. I think with her size, you probably wouldn't expect it, but she does. She can hit trail threes, transition threes, step out threes, pop in threes off of ball screens. Her size is great. She's working on shot blocking, and I think she's just gonna be a force down there, and it gives us a different look when you have Destiny and Carissa that are similar in ways but very different at the same time, and then you bring in a 6'5" shooting post player that shoots threes. She's giving them a run for their money too, and it's just been really good. She's got a great personality. She's a joy to be around, and is immediately has had an impact on the team and on the floor.
And then as we round out and finish the roster, Ariel Jackson.
Yeah, Ari is special on so many levels. Her talent, her skill level, her ability, shot making ability. She, being a freshman alone last year is a challenging thing on the college level. And what she's done is gone from being a freshman to being a returner. and so she's taking things in a different approach. Her perspective is different because she has that year of experience underneath her belt, and now we have new freshmen, right? So she's able to give them that advice and tell them, kind of what she learned from her freshman year. So one of those that she's just so special, and she has not even scratched the surface, but she's putting in a lot of work. So I would expect her to have a really great year.
So as we, kind of finish things up, I did want to get just, a little bit different perspective as like just a fan of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when it comes to women's basketball, you take a look at all the excitement right now with, Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
How, I guess, gratifying is it to see the growth of the women's game over the past 5, 10, 15 years to where it is now?
Yeah, it's gratifying. And to be honest, always had great players. You think of the Miami Wars.
Yep.
There's been great players in every generation. I think what has sparked it is social media.
Yep.
Easier to see. We're more accessible. The NCAA tournament, again, being on ESPN and ESPN2 and not being on different channels where you can't get to it and see it. The TV networks, again, social media of quick videos. It's just put us in a position where it's given more support. And ultimately, at the end of the day, all women's basketball needed was support.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's, on the WNBA level, if we can get more investors, more money, more viewership, then it can expand, because ultimately there are so many great basketball players out there, great players that should make rosters, but there aren't enough spots and there aren't enough teams. And so on that level, if we can continue pumping great products out on the floor, we'll gain more viewership. But it's been gratifying because it's always been there.
Yep.
And even if if it took social media to get it out there, I'm just glad that it's happened, because there's great players on every level, whether it's low mid major, Power 5, it doesn't matter, Division 2. There's great players on every level. They just need to be seen. So it's been really cool. It's been really cool to see, and I would imagine that it's only going to go up from here. The skill level of some of these young players and what they're able to do, their athletic ability, I don't see us reverting back anytime soon, and only progressing.
Well, Abby, I know you're getting on the road to recruit tomorrow, so I don't want to take up any more of your time, but we definitely appreciate you coming on tonight, giving us an inside look at Cincinnati women's basketball this coming season.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. It's always, anytime we have a chance to talk about our team and what we got going, and for us as a staff to be able to talk about Trina and how great she is and what she means to this program, what the program means to her. We always appreciate it. So we look forward to this season, and thank you. Thank you for having me on.
All right. That's Abby Jump. This has been Ryan Roberts with At Large Bid Bearcats Podcast.